Black bear, they're kind of dime a dozen, right? But yeah, you could be around a corner and there's a big grizzly looking at you. So
Sheesh.
Yeah, I cannot even fathom the idea of, I mean, black bears, yeah. Mountain lions, to a certain extent, we have those.
yeah,
But the worst thing I'm worried about is a cottonmouth or a rattlesnake.
yeah. Luckily, we only have like red bellies and garter snakes, so we don't have to worry about that or poisonous bugs or spiders. So
It's not like Australia where everything's trying to kill you.
right,
And everything's
right.
like 10 times larger than you think it is.
That's right.
Yeah. It's just the grizzly bears.
You have one threat, and it is
grizzly bears, wolves, and yeah, of course, mountain lions. But I wouldn't be worried about the last three. So,
Are wolves that big a problem up there?
wolves are pretty big. 150 pounds each, running in packs.
Do they attack people though?
Not really. No. I mean, bears don't really either. Like bears will smell you usually long time before you see them, right? So
you have to
bear,
make some pretty good missteps, right, to run into something like that. I mean, I don't want to say like the hunt. It doesn't all fall on the shoulders of the human being, right? There, you're in nature, like that's just it's the risk you run, right? But there are certainly things you can do to prevent or drastically reduce your chances of having a run in.
yeah, 100%. I mean, I think the best place you're going to see them is when you're like on the river. This is the noise of the river. If you're upwind, you're blindsided by high bush, any of that sort of thing. You can really come up on something in a hurry. But there's preventative measures like we put bells on our clothes, and make no extra noises and whatnot, and we whistle, push bush, yell. Just you want to make sure you want to be safe when you're in, especially in the spring when the sows have their cubs. For sure, they don't mess around.
Now, do you wear the bell so they can identify the shit from the bear once they eat you?
Yeah, 100%.
Everybody has their own custom laser spell for the aftermath.
Yeah, I always take a dude that's a little bit fatter than me so I can outrun him.
Right. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
I can get a bear away from me with a 22. I just shoot my buddy in the knee.
That's right. We just throw a hockey stick at him here.
Guys, why don't we just go ahead and I don't want to lose any of this. Let's just kick this show off. What do you say?
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm game, man.
You're listening to Kayak Flyer with your host, Sean. Tonight, we're brought to you by Tennessee Trailers, OutdoorAdventureTrailers.com. Simply the best way to get your kayak to and from the water. Bajuco Flats Fly Co. Simply the best custom-made fly rods on the market, always built to order just the way you want it. Find Bajuco Flats Fly Co. on Instagram and Facebook. StoneflyNets.com, made 100% in the great state of Arkansas with your choice of woods or burls. Stonefly nets can even be customized for that favorite fisher person in your life. Check out StoneflyNets.com for details. CutthroatFurledLeaders.com, the only leaders that I fish with. Cutthroat Furled Leaders are excellent for saltwater, freshwater, trout, bass, you name it, you can catch it with a Cutthroat Furled Leader. Head to CutthroatFurledLeaders.com, promo code kayak to save 15%. I've got to get somebody to recut that intro because I just realized I say simply the best twice in a row. That is how narrow-minded I am. Guys, this is great. We actually, we had such a great conversation. I hit record. I don't think anybody knew it. We were talking about all the things that can eat you in Canada because we've got Joel and we've just christened him as the Crazy Canuck from Lazy R Streamers on Facebook. He is a great guy, does some incredible, dude, that fly you posted today was absolutely insane. It was like an articulated zonker smallmouth bass fly. It was stupid cool.
Thanks, man. Really appreciate it.
I mean, you're tying some really interesting stuff up there, and I know a lot of us, we think about Canada, we think about all kinds of different, I can't even describe what we think about, but smallmouth bass is not what comes to mind.
No, I grew up on the East Coast, and smallmouth bass is, a big staple of the of angling community out there. So,
What are you fishing for up there 95% of the time?
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a trout bum through and through. So,
Own it, man. Just own it. No shame, brother.
yeah, no, I'm a trout bum, and but I am a multi-species angler as well. So, I like to change it up now and then. We have lake whitefish and Rocky Mountain whitefish. I do target those on occasion. We have lots of great walleye for fisheries and pike, northern pike. We also have tremendous grayling fishing in my area. So I just got into that last summer, and that's just a blast. Like probably the best topwater fish to target ever. So
Really?
yeah.
Now, being so far in the South, Adam and I have talked about this. Being so far in the South, grayling is like one of our bucket list fish. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I mean, I moved to northern Alberta 2 years ago, roughly, and I was living in central, and we don't have them in central. But going further northwest, of course, we're starting to get into grayling territory. But grayling is just an absolute beast of a fish to catch on the fly. Just top water bugs, small streamers. They are so aggressive and so fun and just plentiful. And not to mention like just the most amazing colors you can find in a freshwater fish. So with the huge dorsal fin, they call it the freshwater sailfish for a reason. So just to see in the purples and the blues, iridescence, and just they're fantastic fish to target. So highly recommend.
Adam, before you get the dig in, are they dumb enough for me to catch? You said you wanted the rim shot on there, buddy. You got
it. Nice touch. It's bringing the
That's
80s
good.
back right now.
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
it's the Gong Show all over again. But no, I know Adam was going to say, are they dumb enough for Sean to catch? Are they easy to catch?
To be fair, if you wanted to get a youngster into fly fishing, it is a tremendous opportunity to get them started because it's nonstop action. If you can locate them, here in the spring, everything opens up June 1st. They're in the back creeks coming from the main vein rivers and coming up to spawn, and they kind of hang out until about mid to late summer, and then they go back into the main waters. But during that time, you can catch like 50, 100 in a few hours by yourself. So
Golly. Yeah.
yeah.
Adam, your trip to Disneyland just went to hell.
No kidding. We're going north.
The weather will be a lot better in June up there than it will be in Florida.
No kidding.
That's right.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Holy cow. Oh my gosh. It's too funny.
I know, Adam, you've always got, you're a trout bum. I'm a fresh, warm, salty guy.
Yeah.
I fish for trout, but that's not my passion. But trout, you are there. This is a great opportunity for you to hook up with a guy who can put you on some nice trout.
Yeah.
And hey, he can even take you ice fishing up there.
No
sure
kidding.
can, yeah.
No, that's true. I mean, yeah, I'm here in Kansas City, so I mean, for trout water for me, it's gotta be stocker trout, and that's 3-4 hours away from here. There's just there's no two ways about it. But it is my favorite fish to target, specifically on the fly. Just have a blast doing so. I mean, I grew up bass fishing and crappie fishing, and more of like the spin casting, bait spinners and whatnot. So fly fishing to me has been fairly new in the last 5 years. So trout just seem natural to me, right? So like trout fishing north of the border is like next level. Like it's hard for me to even wrap my head around it. Like had the opportunity to fish for trout in Colorado, which is a blast, because that's not too terribly far away from where I am. But outside of that, it's all Midwest, which there's some great trout fishing in the Midwest. I mean, Sean, every episode that we're on, we're always plugging Cotter, Arkansas, because of the trout fishing that's down there. But again, it's not where you are, so that's completely foreign and hard for me to kind of, I guess, even think about targeting that water, because it's just going to be something I've never been accustomed to. So, we were talking about like the wildlife you encounter just in terms of threats of bears and wolves. And for me here, it's like deer that might run past you and spook you on the stream. Like, it's just not the same.
Wild hogs.
Yeah.
Wild hogs occasionally. That's it.
Well, that's not too bad then.
Yeah. And hey, if you shoot a wild hog and you mix it with a domestic hog, it tastes good. But I just want to say, I'm impressed that Adam said he went to Colorado to fly fish, because we all know why he really went there.
Yeah. Going west under the guise of fly fishing. That's right. Yeah.
You guys got to watch Adam. You don't see that smoke around him on the podcast. The reason we call him Cheech Jr.
Just caught the boat now, man.
Well, it's legal here in Canada now, right?
Oh, I'm moving to Canada. Guys, do you guys need anybody that's I'm a certified beach bum. I don't have a real career. I'm ready to go to Canada.
I could use a net man.
Oh, I'm there. I'm there.
Careful what you ask for, Joel. Careful what you ask for.
Guys, and this is something I want to get out of the way real quick, because I said it last week and Adam wasn't on the show to hear it. I want to just go ahead and tell Adam right now how much better he makes the show, because he is the Abbott to my Costello. He is a great guy to have on the show, and I really appreciate him, just like I do all of our guests. But man, I'm going to tell you what, this is a wild ride, and I have a feeling it's going to get more wild as we go along.
Yeah, man. No, it's a blast, dude. Love doing it.
Oh, love it. And Joel, you and I we were talking before I hit record. When you started talking about bears, I hit record. So we've got a little bit of a pre-show intro there, which is a new thing for the show. I need to do that more often now that I think about it. But we had a really interesting discussion about the whole, being in Canada, and you were a commercial tire to start with. And I always see, and it doesn't matter if it's stupid simple, if it's fly tying, sell and trade, there's all these Facebook groups. I want to start tying flies and selling them. And I'm like, no, I don't want to corrupt my hobby. Like, this podcast is as much as I want to corrupt my hobby with work. And this is work. I mean, you wouldn't think it because we get drunk while we're doing the show, but this is work. We may have to break some federal laws and mail some beer back and forth together, but
there we go.
But this is work, and you worked as a commercial fly tyer. Can you dispel some of the myths?
Yeah, 100%. I got out of it literally because if you've heard of it, burnout. And that's 100% why. And when I started tying commercially, I actually started tying ice fishing patterns. So wireworms, San Juans, bucktail jigs, certain things like that. I did that for about 3 years. Extremely successful. Made really good money doing it. However, I was tied to my vise, and that was no fun for me. I couldn't go out fishing. I couldn't do anything with my buddies and whatnot. And I held a full-time job, and then I came home and I tied flies for the remainder of my day, and then I went home. I went to bed and hardly slept. So, and if you think like just ice fishing would, give me like 6 months off, no, it's marketing, advertising, setting up my retail stores for the upcoming season. You're talking ice fishing, tail end of August, and you're not done until March. So, you've got, more than a half a year of your life, preparing for this. Some of my better customers their starting orders would be, 2 to 3,000 pieces. I'm a one man show. So, outsourcing product, talking marketing, getting labels, promotions, giveaways, all that. Plus the actual bread and butter, like the nitty gritty, getting down to tying and doing the work. Not to mention, I'm sales and delivery man and all of that. It really took the passion I had out of it. And I wasn't a full-fledged tire at the time. I was, like that. Those are relatively easy patterns to tie, but the long and the short of it was, other people in the community saw how successful I was, and then started to undercut me. And then nowadays we see Kenyan tires or African tires are coming in on the market, and they're just absolutely bastardizing the marketplace. They're selling shit flies for pennies, and
Damn it. Damn it. I don't want to interrupt you, but we don't cuss on this damn show.
So right.
You're a fan, obviously,
I work, in my day job, I work with a lot of business owners, and I gotta say, I mean, you're absolutely right. A lot of them that I work with, they don't work necessarily in their hobbies or passions because they know what it's going to do to them and the toll that it takes, especially when you talk about for yourself, literally a one-man operation. I mean, I think there's like a TV commercial where the guy's launched a business out of his garage, right? They're like, hi, I need to speak to the sales department. He's like, yeah, hold please. And hangs on the phone. He's like, oh, sales department, a different name for each thing. Like, you're literally doing everything. So, the passion you have behind it, which is tying the flies, right? That becomes the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th thing down the road that you're actually doing when you talk about everything. You stop and think about what a business has to do on a daily basis. It's not even just getting the product up. It's that's just the very beginning thing. It can be incredibly overwhelming. So yeah, I could see why you'd get out of it. I mean, 2 to 3,000 piece orders, that's absolutely insane.
Yeah, and that's just for one customer, So, and then everybody who just wants to find me on Facebook and put in personal orders, and then do gifts for dads and uncles or whoever that angler is in your life. Christmas was good to me and bad at the same time in that regard. So, but I mean, it's just many hats, and then yeah, it just burnt me out, and I just said the hell with it. I gave it up, and there's so many guys doing the same thing, and at the end of the day, people are tire kicking, telling me that I should lower my prices and this, that, and the other thing, and at the end of the day, you still got to put a smile on and say, well, you know what I got. You know where to find me. Thank you very much. So.
Right.
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 I just got exhausted, and that's not what I want to give the community. That's we all want to give our very best to the community. So then I decided I was going to take a step back and find that balance again, regain that balance. So I started volunteering with youth, and doing giveaways for auctions for charities and whatnot, and then that kind of butted into my love for tying streamers. So that's another story. So
Well, just be glad you don't live in America where our taxes are low and we have more disposable income. I went there. Number 1, America.
Ding ding.
No, but I will say, like, here, should we do this? America. America. I will say this though, Adam has Luttrell's fly shop, Etsy store, but he just does custom orders, and they're like he has to approve them. Like he whipped me out a bunch of Copper Johns, and I get a lot of free stuff. He charges me. What's up with that? I mean,
That's called small
I'm
business.
writing him a check for $500 a month from the income off this podcast.
Adam, I just want to say one thing, man. I respect that.
No, I kid. I got him a free bobbin.
That's right. Yeah, we're even. And then I tied the flies and said, "Pay me."
You can do that? Yes.
But it is. Do you have a right bobbin, Joel?
No, I don't.
Let me reach out and see if I can't find you a right bobbin.
Okay, make it two.
Yes.
Right bobbins are our favorite. And the guy, you got to go. I don't know if you've listened to that show with him or not. Absolutely great guy. Wonderful business model. He has 2 sheltered workshops that these guys wouldn't have anything to do, and he works with them. And obviously keeps his price down, but it gives these guys something to do during life. And that's a great thing. Go back and listen to that episode. It was great. But I mean, Adam does, and he's not overwhelmed because he just like, no, I'm not going to tie those. Or I've got these, I'm going to tie these. And it's an easy way to do it, but he's got his daughter incorporated into it too. So he's got like
child labor. Oh, good.
Yeah, he's got the child labor going on because he's not a dummy. You know what I mean? He may have a theater degree, but he's not a dummy.
You got those Copper Johns ready?
It's like making a drug deal. You walk up and you hand him some money. He slides you some Copper Johns on the down low. We're gonna get booted now. We made a drug dealer comment. We can't post this on Stupid Simple anymore.
Oh no, it's done.
No, this is fun.
Yeah. So Joel, obviously we got the video going. So I see you've got the is that a trout mount behind you on the wall? What is this one? What is that back there?
That's actually a smallmouth bass.
What is it? Okay.
A smallie, yeah. So my next door neighbor growing up, he was one hell of an outdoorsman. And when I was a young teenager, he got diagnosed with spinal cancer. And he beat it twice. Third time it took him. But during his journey, his fight, he couldn't get out and fish and hunt or do anything because of the treatments and stuff took so much out of him. So he really took up the hobby of carving fish, and that's actually a carved replica. Let me see if I can get in on it a little bit there for you. So that's the guy was an absolute artiste. Like and a heart of gold. So I was 15. It was actually on the Nova Scotia Bassmaster trail. And me and a friend of mine, we went out and we fished a new lake. And that at the time was my personal best fish, over 6 pounds. So what he requested from me, where he couldn't get out, he said, Joel, could you bring me, a fish now and then so I can get he wanted the dimensions and the colors and, whatnot off the fish. So he would actually paper clip the fins open and then freeze it that way. And then that way he could get proper dimensions and whatnot off of that. So I caught that in August when I was 15. The following February, he came over and had that and gave it to me. So that has been with me for over 25 years. And so he's been long gone. He died when I was about 21. And so that's kind of the centerpiece. And I respect it. I respected that man quite highly. So in saying that, I do have his old LL Bean fly net. So in one of my videos that I have on my YouTube channel, I just started. The very first one is I caught my personal best bull trout, and we netted him with Dickie's net. So After this past season, I'm retiring the net and making sure nothing happens to it anymore, and then that's going to get hung up next to
Oh,
the
that's
bass
awesome.
here. So
Yeah. What a
That
tribute to
is
somebody that's obviously had an impact on you, at a pretty deep level, right? And then to showcase his work even after he's passed. That's amazing. Very cool. Very, very cool.
and if
yeah,
you're watching this on YouTube, and you can watch it on YouTube if you're listening to the podcast, but even from where I'm sitting, that is an amount of detail that I don't know a lot of guys who've spent 40 years in the craft could get.
he even took curved soldering irons and would burn the backside curves of every scale on the Atlantic salmons and whatnot. He did with them. Like he was just
That's
one of
wild.
those guys that you just extinct. You couldn't find another guy like that.
Yeah.
So
Did you say you caught it in August and the following February? So just a few short months later, he had it done. Did I hear that
he had
right?
that done. Yeah.
That's nuts. I mean, I'll hear of others that take like every bit of like 12 months before anybody gets their fish back, and he's sitting there waiting like literally a year to get anything back. That's an incredible turn time to do something of that level.
Yeah, and then it's a wood carving on top of it. I mean,
Yeah.
that's unheard of. I mean, and it's a beautiful piece, man. It really is, and that's a very touching story.
Yeah, so that's kind of the centerpiece to my wall. And if I could explain a little bit of my wall here, it's like
Yeah.
all the hats actually are companies that really have helped me and supported me on my journey. As I strive for perfection in fly tying and fly fishing. So each hat represents a company that supported me. So this wall is not just a bunch of hats and a fish. It's significant. So I wanted that to be a piece of my story, my history. So
Well, that's awesome.
Go ahead and plug your YouTube channel real quick, because I haven't checked it out. I will, but go ahead and plug it real quick.
I just started. I just got the studio up and running like a month ago, and I only have the one video up of my bull trout.
Well,
However,
get
it's
people to subscribe. That way they can watch more.
yeah, 100%. I'm gonna be dropping some YouTube tutorials on some of my streamers. So it's Lazy R Streamers, simple, easy. So you should be able to find it, no problem.
Cool.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to get together and on our YouTube, which has like 8 subscribers, we'll definitely share your stuff on there.
Awesome, thanks, man.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what's so funny? We get Eric Jackson on the show. We've got Drew Gregory coming up. We've had Christine Fisher. We've got Travis from Arc Flyline. We've just had Rick from Oasis. We've got all these. Oh, and we've got. Have you guys ever heard of Jack Dennis?
Sounds like a NASCAR driver, but
no, he wrote the first fly tying book on Western trout.
oh wow,
He's in his 70s, and he asked to come on the show. We have these huge names. And we've got like 8 subscribers.
That's unreal, man. Wow.
Yeah. It's there are so many people that there are really well-known names out there, and then there are names that have been forgotten in time. Because I was talking to Rick today. Rick called me today because my stuff was coming in today that I got from him. And he's like, hey, Jack is, interested. And he's like, he goes, it's the 50th anniversary of his first book. And I'm like, he's like, he's not going to be around that long. He goes, I'm not being mean, but he's getting up there, and to have a recording of him and this, and I'm like, dude, you don't have to tell me twice. I'm in. And, just like, your friend Dickie, guys like that are great at stuff. It's really important that we cherish their memory by having that stuff around.
Yeah, 100%. And to carry a little bit of it with us as well,
Yeah. Yeah, I know. if anything ever happened to Pablo, having that rod from him, it would make me think of all the times he offered to let me stay in the bedroom that he has dedicated to his cat. Because I know Pablo Bajico Flats Flyco is listening to this episode, and his sponsorship's going to have to go up after all the cat comments.
He's just looking out for you, buddy. He could throw you out on the street. He's at least offering you the quality accommodations that are good enough for his cat. I mean,
hey, I'm telling you, his cat is well kept.
Very well kept.
My wife said to me, she goes, "Oh, so me and the girls are going on vacation this year." I'm like, "Well, I didn't get to go on my guys' vacation last year because I changed jobs. I'm teaching school again." Kind of regret every decision in my life at this point, but I'm teaching school again. And so I can't just take off for a week in October to go down to Louisiana and saltwater fish, which, I mean, I don't know how you'd get from Louisiana from Alberta. I mean, do you have to go somewhere else before you get there, Joel?
The airport.
Oh, okay.
There's no back access way that Canadian underground tunnel we're not aware of, right?
The Canadian Audubon, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have airports in that third world country, my man?
Sean, I like you. Don't change that, man. Come on up. We'll go grizzly watching.
Can I wear the bells?
That's good.
Yeah.
I may have to call Pablo because I may have to go on a Sean trip with Pablo and meet his cat.
Yeah.
Just hope Pepe Le Pew isn't around to try and chase us around. Do they have skunks in Puerto Rico? I don't know. We'll ask Pablo that.
I don't know, man. Yeah, you're gonna have to reach out on that one for sure.
Pablo's gonna fire up as soon as we drop this. He's gonna fire up our Facebook page about Pepe Le Pew. He has been on that tirade.
Great.
Oh, but no, I mean, seriously, Puerto Rico's part of America. Do you guys consider yourself to be part of America up there in Canada?
No.
Or do you just want us to fight all the wars?
I'm sure there's a definitive line drawn in the sand, and he is very happy to separate himself from his southern border.
We have grizzlies. You have gators.
That's the absolute way to look at it. And any of our Canadian listeners, this is all in fun. I've got a really good friend who has immigrated to Canada. She's very nice. I like Canadians. I have family in Canada. This is why I can make these jokes. Adam can't.
Not true. Actually, my aunt married a Canadian, and he's one of the best people that I know. He's fantastic.
Oh. I'm just waiting to hear a boot.
No.
So, Joel, you're a certified trout bum. So tell me, what's your so you caught your personal best bull trout not too long ago. What of the trout species, if you will? What's your favorite, man? Or I guess what's the easiest to target or favorite to target? Why don't you expand on that a little bit for us?
I'd have to say the brown trout, hands down. It's just a machine. Like any of the char species, that's actually how I got into tying streamers. Is I've only been fishing streamers for about 5 years ish. So we floated. I don't know if you guys have heard of the Bow River, but it's like a blue ribbon fishery here in Alberta. It's world renowned. So we fished the Bow River.
If it's outside of America, it's not world renowned.
This guy. I don't even claim him anymore at this point.
Have you ever heard of Cotter, Arkansas?
Joel,
I'm sorry. I'm going to be quiet now.
If he wasn't running the whole soundboard, I'd mute him, I promise.
So anyways, the western, eastern slopes for us on the Rocky Mountains, it's an amazing, they call that the Alberta Trout Highway. So the trout fishing is just absolute beast. I've floated with a friend, in one of the local waters, and he introduced me to a couple of new spots and whatnot. And basically, I started chucking big rapalas like shadow wraps and whatnot for brown trout and bull trout, and he kind of chuckled at me, and I was like, well, you'll see how they do, and we're talking 30 plus trout days on some floats, of respectable browns and bull trout. And, this wasn't just fluke days. This was like every time we floated, we had really good numbers. So I did that for about 2 years. And I really got a better understanding of trout, and especially brown trout and bull trout. And so I was like, I'm kind of getting bored of just spin casting. What can I do to challenge myself? When you go buy a rappler or any crankbait for that matter, it's really hard to get that specific color and specific crankbait to do exactly what you want for that specific situation or body of water. So I'm like, hey, if I tie flies, big streamers, I can get exactly what I want. So then it just stemmed from there. And there, it just snowballed. And I really started building momentum last year when I took a 12-day trip and I put some of my new prototypes to test. And I killed 4 personal bests in a week between walleye, bull trout, and I caught an over 8 pound cutthroat trout. So that was a huge accomplishment to me. And I'm not just spending hours and hours and hours on the vise for nothing. So, I like to think outside the box and try different things. So, I think that's really what keeps me going. And then putting something on the market in the community that helps put more trout in the net or fish in the net in general for other people, that's kind of where I want to be. Right. So
I would be remiss if I didn't mention Jeff Tatum at 19 Delta Baits, a good friend of the show, even a better friend of the show before he fired me from his show last week.
Can't imagine why.
Obviously,
You're so warm, Sean.
No, I kept telling him, you don't need me on your show. You need to have somebody else that's essential outdoorsman. I kept telling him, you don't need me, you need guests, and they wound up getting guests. That was not a smart career move. But I caught my personal best brown trout last year. It was 14 inches. Adam, why don't you tell us about some of your personal best trout?
Well, if we're talking about brown trout, I have yet to catch a brown trout, and that's the God honest truth. I haven't caught any brown trout. They don't. The waters that I have easier access to, like they say that they're there, but I don't know, man. It's nothing what you're chasing up there. I'll tell you that. Sean just beat me up, man.
We're getting the best out of those music beds right now.
I love that soundbite. That was good.
I knew it was going to be a sad story.
I can't hear any of the things that you're playing, so I have no clue what you're doing.
I played the soft piano music while you were talking about that. It just went with it so well.
Perfect. Oh, that worked so good. Yes. That's so good.
But yeah, Adam, I respect that. Brown trout, they can be just one of the most aggressive freshwater fish ever, and then they can be one of the fussiest fish ever. So you definitely got to put your time in and know what you're doing, and even if when you think you know what you're doing, you really don't know what you're doing. So you just got to keep putting your time in. So
I read an interesting article the other day, and I'm pretty sure it was on Gink and Gasoline, but it may not have been. But the guy was talking about you go out on really nasty days and you just look for shadows of brown trout moving around rocks and logs because they're probably going to live their entire life right there. And then you go out on really sunny days and you stay like 30 feet back and cast to them.
Or you find somebody
Because,
with a drift boat and you,
yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
Because they're a finicky creature. I mean, for as big as they get, and there's a reason why a lot of guys catch them on mouse patterns at night. I mean, brown trout are, you can catch rainbows. And I mean, you know this, Adam, and I'm sure Joel, you probably have rainbows up there too. They're they're pretty dumb, you know.
Not as dumb as cutthroat, but yeah, 100%. Yeah, they're not super hard to catch for sure.
Yeah.
They can be finicky. There are days that you can go skunk, but yeah,
Right.
browns are really cool. Like you'll see in a lot of fly tying materials now, everything's kind of UV. You see the UV marketing on that packaging, and brown trout can actually feed by starlight.
No
So
kidding.
yeah, so that's very interesting. We've actually done a bit of mousing um, at night for browns, in a couple of select rivers in the eastern slopes, and been highly successful. So basically, you just toss out, and once you hear a splash, you strip set. If you don't have anything hooked, you just recast. But yeah, they're the big browns. They'll come out to play. So
Yeah. Yeah.
And strip setting is something that saltwater guys talk about a lot. And warm water guys can do it, but they don't have to do it. But when you're talking about that kind of trout action, if you don't strip set, you're lost. And that's something a lot of guys that are trout fishers in America don't understand.
yeah, and strip setting is pretty well essential, especially if you're a streamer, like a meat checker, like a lot of my buddies and myself. Um, and the flies that we're tying now for streamers, they're not really traditionalist friendly, because they're borderline crankbaits. So like we think of streamers, we think woolly buggers, we think muddler minnows, we think intruders, and we swing those. How do we fish those? We swing them. Now we actually cast and we strip, jerk, work that fly just like we would like a spin cast or a bait casting rod with a Rapala. And that's kind of that's kind of stirring up the community, but and we see a lot of the materials are starting to bridge that gap between spin casting and fly fishing on the streamer side. So I'm far from a purist, but I think it's a good thing, and it's starting to get a lot of that spin cast community to not be so shy or intimidated from the fly fishing community as well.
Mm-hmm.
I know Adam is new to streamers, but I'm going to tell you one of my favorite streamers to use. And I use it like a jerk bait and a jig. And that is a feather game changer. Game changers are awesome, but I love the feather game changers. There's something about the way that movement is. Have you tied any of those or used any of those with success?
Oh, 100%. However, I will say one thing about a game changer is that, yes, they're highly effective. They're not the only highly effective pattern.
No, they're not. They're not. But I love tying them, and they take like 15 minutes a piece.
Yeah, I guess they take a like sometimes they take a long time. Like when you get when you start getting into like that body wrap, like the chocolates body wrap and stuff like that, and then the hours of trimming and coloring and whatnot, and then you lose it your second cast into a hole. You it's just it's just like, oh man, this thing looks great, it looks good in the water. Second cast, bam, you're like, man, I should have tied a deceiver. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
Right.
it's not a guide fly. That's
No,
all there. It's not a guide fly.
no. And I mean, like, there's a lot of fly patterns out there in streamer world that actually, are very trendy. Like most things nowadays, the game changer is one of them. I don't think the sex dungeon will ever die. Anything by Kelly Gallup will, be
You know that's
forever.
that's getting canceled.
Oh yeah.
No, I'm serious. Like the cancel culture came after Kelly Gallup for
Oh
the
my
sex
god.
dungeon and the cougar in
Zoo
America.
Cougar, yeah.
I don't know if you're. Yeah, they came after him and saying that's not PC. He can't have that fly. And on YouTube, the WT, the W trash fly is any videos with that name in it are canceled and pulled from YouTube.
Hmm.
Wow.
And that's Garner's fly.
I didn't.
Yeah, it's amazing. But yeah, we can say sex dungeon on here all we want to, but yeah, that's a killer fly. And the circus peanut's a good fly.
Yeah, Peanut, barely legal.
Yeah,
That's another Gallup.
yep.
That's
They canceled that
amazing.
name too.
Yeah. But I mean, like, he kind of brought it on himself. Like, where did he come up with these names? Like, yeah. But
I saw an interview with him, and I know a person who knows him. I'm trying to get him on the show. He was like, "What the hell am I gonna call it? Why not have fun with it? I was in my 30s."
right.
Yeah.
And at the time, he was one of the pioneers. That kind of led the way for, new age streamer fishing. So.
Who would have thought of that years ago that you couldn't name something the sex dungeon?
Yeah,
I mean,
100%. Yeah.
it gets down deep and dark and it's just pure sexy. It's a great fly,
Yeah, it is. It is. It's a great fly. Spun deer hairhead. That Gallup's patterns have really stemmed some really great patterns. From anything from the Zoo Cougar for any of the new age scalping patterns, and anything from like the Viking Midge and whatnot, and the Junkyard Dog from Mike Schmidt. Like any of those things. That's Kelly Gallup's. He's had a hand in that. So you got to take your hat off to him, despite the names of the fly. But
well, in Canada, you still have those names. In America, we've lost them. That's why I want to become a Canadian now all of a sudden.
Yeah,
But
it's
Adam,
getting
you're
pretty tight
brand
up
new
here.
to. Oh, Adam, you're brand new to streamer tying. You're a trout bum. You love trout. What's been something you've encountered, Adam, that maybe you and Joel can talk about as far as streamer patterns? Because I know you don't tie a lot of them, and he does.
No, man, I wouldn't even know where to start if I'm being perfectly honest with you. I mean, I've tied probably a woolly bugger is technically a streamer, and I've certainly tied plenty of those in different varieties and variations. I mean, that's simple, right? Like you can do whatever you want with those. But outside of that, I mean, a couple of bait fish patterns, like some of that material that you sent me, Sean, from Fly Tires Dungeon, the Congo hair and whatnot, and putting that in. I just made stuff up. Like I was just putting it all together, coming up with different combinations just to make bait fish patterns. Man, I don't even know where to begin for that. I'm really looking forward. Actually, this weekend's supposed to be super nice. I'm going to try to get out and throw that and see what we can make of it. But I don't really have any. When you talk streamer or fly tying, like, I'm just kind of sitting here like just listening. I don't know, man. That's not my wheelhouse right now.
Well, they're so much easier to tie than trout flies, and I think Joel can explain some of this. Some of the materials are a little bit, like especially like the zonker strips and stuff, are a little bit exotic to trout. But I would rather tie on a size 2 hook any day of the week, an articulated streamer,
Yeah, I will
than
tell you
I
that. I
would.
mean, so we've talked about this before. Like I tie on anywhere like 12 to 18. That's the size that I'm typically tying on. Like that's a range that I'm comfortable in. I feel like I can get a good variety with that size of trout flies, whether it's dry fly, it's nymph, whatever. When I started tying on, I think it was a 2-aught maybe. I mean, I
That's
was
what
like,
I sent you 2 odds.
this, and I felt like I was like pulling in large, like a hay bale, right? And I'm like plopping it on. I'm like, it's easy. I could do this all day long. I'm used to being here, right? Like it was weird. Like my arm hurt after like 4 wraps. Like I didn't know what to do. Like
I think I sent you 1/0 and 2/0, and guess what came in the mail today?
what? Hit me.
6/0.
Oh my god.
Send
We're
them.
we are
Send
field
'em.
testing. I will mail you some. The mad scientist sent me some 6/0
That's
to field test.
I'm pretty sure I got some 8/0s right here, guys.
God. I don't
We're
even
having a
know how
hook
to
off, you
handle-
know.
I'm not sure my vice will hold an 8/0 or a 6/0, but we're gonna try
Let's get
it.
the vice grips
But-
out and put them in a stand, right? Just clamp it down. You'd be good.
Just go out to your garage. You've got that vice your grandpa had that he sharpened the lawnmower blade on. Wrap it down and get after it.
That's right. I will say, like I have a tremendous amount of respect for the small bug guys. Like the stuff that they can make that you just want to, you could swat at it, right? One of my best friends, he's a dry fly guy, man, and he is spectacular at what he does. Ryan Storch is his name, and anyways, that guy can tie on a size 22, and it's flawless. And I'm like, man, how do you do that? And it's funny, like I'll try and tie like on a size 8, right? And I'm, all thumbs, and he's like, bro, it's not bad. I would do this and this, and he helps me out. And then he does some YouTube tutorials with a third party a channel, I guess you'd say. And anyway, so he's like,
If they're
bro,
not paying us, don't mention their name.
I gotta tie some streamers, man. Like they want me to tie streamers. I don't know what to do. And so it's like, it's exact same as like, bro, I don't know how you do this, man. Like, so yeah.
Yeah. You would think like from the outside looking in, if you're just a fly fisherman or if you just spectate, you're like, I know that's a thing, but then you stop and talk about fly tying. Not a ton of people do both, right? And then when you break it down even further, there's a distinct difference between tying nymphs and midges than tying a bait fish pattern of any sort. And you can get as creative as you want in either realm. Like it's just a matter of
100%,
comfort.
yeah.
But I mean, it's not like, hey, you can tie bait fish, you can tie a copper john. Like it doesn't work that way, right? Like it just doesn't. Like you got to have a developed skill set for all types.
Yeah, 100%. And if people say, oh, what's the best component to tying a good fly? And a lot of people argue with me on this, and stupid simple. I've brought my point to the table, and a lot of people disagree with me. Is a lot of people say it's material because when you're on there, they want you to list your material list. It's not material. You can put anything in there that's very similar to that material. It's all about technique. Once you get that technique down, you can put anything in there to give it that same effect. But that technique, if you don't know how to tie marabou onto a shank of a hook in 5 different ways, go back to tying size 16 midges.
And you give Adam those guys' names, and he'll boot them from Stupid Simple because he and Ben are tight. It's just out.
It's like, hey Ben, did you get that?
Hey, Adam picks up the phone. Ben answers on the first ring. I go to voicemail.
Man, I seen it
And
in a
Ben will
Warner
be like,
Brothers
"Who
movie.
is it?"
I seen it.
Yeah.
Wolf of Stupid Simple.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I broke down and bought some size 16 hooks from Nick Dooley at Dooley's Fly Fishing. Save 15% with promo code Kayak. Nice plug there, right?
Hey,
I
Nick,
broke down and
that?
bought. Yeah, Nick, did you hear that, Nick? I'm plugging you, buddy. I'm plugging you. I sat down. I bought some size 16s because I went from 8s. So I was tying like 8 woolly buggers. Then I
It's
went
good
to
size.
10s. And then I went to 12s, and then Nick's like, you can do 14s. And he's like, those 14s look good. Let me send you some 16s. And I'm like, just bill me. That's the worst thing in the world. Just bill me. Take it out of my PayPal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I shouldn't. I have resided just signing my entire check over to Nick Dooley at dooley'sflyfishing.com, save 15%. Yeah, I just signed my entire check over because I'm a teacher. I make like $800 every month.
A
So
year.
I just, at a Catholic school on top of it. I mean, the Pope's wearing gold and I'm wearing friggin' leather sandals that wore out 4 years ago. I'm going to hell for that one.
Oh no!
Just purgatory.
Yeah, for a little while. If I was in Canada where you guys got all the free stuff, you didn't have to have a card to fill out. You know what I mean? I'm so going to hell for this podcast. Why would you do this to me, Joel?
You brought this on yourself.
Oh my God. This is one of the I don't want to say it's one of the best because it's like really a bad podcast.
You can say that. You can say that.
One of the most fun we've had in ages.
You told me to bring beer, and here we are.
Hey,
Adam, what are you
Joel,
drinking tonight for
I have
beer?
a question for you, man. So, like, I was just looking through your Facebook real quick, and in your about section, there's something that says breakdancing. Are you a breakdancer? Is this like?
You sure you got the right profile,
Dude, I'm telling you.
Do I have the physique of a breakdancer?
I'm telling you, I was like, I gotta ask him about that. That's so bizarre, right? Like,
next question, Adam. I don't even know where that came from. Maybe I have an interest in watching other people break dance, but
maybe. Look, all right.
Didn't you see him on Electric Boogaloo?
Fix it in post.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to call Mark Zucker here, man.
Oh. Where do we even go from break? How did we get to break dancing? How do we go from?
That was a good question.
Man,
good question. I respect that.
I'm just looking at what's on your Facebook, bro. I don't know.
Are you sure that's him?
Now I'm not so sure. I don't
know. What have you been drinking tonight?
It's legal up here in Canada, boys. It's.
Are you drinking that astronaut IPA tonight?
No, actually, I don't have any beer right now. I'm drinking water, dude. I'm being real.
Yeah, that's because he's got cotton mouth.
Yeah. Jeez.
I wouldn't know what that is because I've never experimented with anything in my life, and I just want to say that right now for the ATF to hear, even though I lost all my firearms in a tragic boating accident.
Oh, God.
I know a guy who worked for the ATF, and he did not like it when I said, "Who brings the chips?"
Now I know why we only have 8 subscribers.
It sounds like a party to me. Alcohol, tobacco, firearms. That's a party, man. Where I grew up. That's a family reunion where I grew up.
Yeah, it's a wedding. For sure, it's a wedding.
Oh, and Adam slams back a 24-ouncer as he says he wasn't drinking.
That's right.
Adam, any last words you've got? We're creeping up on an hour, and we're going to have Joel back because this was a train wreck of a fun show.
You bet. Yeah, I mean, we'll invite him back. He might, delete your number or not answer. So we're just going to see how it goes when we stop recording, right?
That's why I faked your number when I call him.
No, man.
I'm thinking I got to get a kayak rather.
Kayak. Do you know anything about kayaks? That bloody kayak flipped me when I went to boot the corner.
Oh, God. No, man, Joe, it's been a blast, dude. This has been a lot of fun. We kind of went all over the place, but sometimes that's the best type of show, right? When you can kind of you can kind of touch on all sorts of things. So it's been a great time, man. We'd love to have you back on at some point for sure.
Yeah, it'd be my pleasure, honestly, guys. It was a hell of a time for sure, man. And
We haven't even talked about all that damn thread you've got over your shoulder.
Right.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. How many shades of green do you need to have?
That's a personal question.
I'll tell you what. I know a lot of guys that have had more. I know guys that have had less marriages than you have thread.
Where's that? Where's the rim shot?
Married.
Where's the rim shot?
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
You ready? Here. Yeah, my grandma had more marriages than you have thread. Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of thread. Do you even know what you have over there?
He's a prepared man, Sean. You wouldn't understand.
I hit a button and I accidentally deleted the baseball thing. I've got to reboot this. But you know what, Adam? Why don't you go ahead and give everybody a plug for your fly shop?
Yeah, sure. So just out on Etsy.com, look up Littrell's Fly Shop. See what we have there. We'll do custom orders. Just let me know. Happy to help out in any way, man.
Throw out your Instagram.
Instagram is at Littrell's Fly Shop. Pretty straightforward stuff, man.
All right, we had to get that piano back in there one more time.
Yeah,
it was elegant.
It was. This is beautiful. I'm gonna tell you what, Adam, you've got to get a studio set up so I can't make fun of you anymore with that piano.
I'm just walking into these things left and right. We gotta wrap this.
I'm loving this new soundboard. Oh, guys, hey, I'll tell you what. If you like and subscribe, I guess just follow, or well, you know what? Let's do a like and subscribe. If you like and subscribe to Joel's YouTube page, go ahead and say your YouTube page again.
Lazy R Streamers.
If you like and subscribe to his YouTube page, he will send me a name and address, and I will mail a Cutthroat Furled Leader to you. How's that sound for a great giveaway tonight? Well, awesome. We're helping a friend out, and when he sees how few people hear this to like and subscribe, he'll want to come back on in case those same people ignore it again. But we'll do that. We'll do that for Joel, guys. Joel, plug everything you've got, because we didn't even talk about all the stuff you've got. We went into grizzly bears and poop and wolves and.
That's actually the first time we talked about poop. But anyways, yeah, you can find me on Instagram, all my work and adventures and whatnot. Lazy _R _ streamers. And you can find me on Facebook as well, Lazy R Streamers, Lazy R Streamer Co. and Lazy R Streamers on YouTube, and we're gonna have some tutorials come up in the next little bit here as soon as my eyes heal. So yeah, thanks very much, guys.
Guys, this has been absolutely wonderful. Adam, again, I cannot thank you enough for rejoining the show. You are my Abbott to my Costello. You're my Peppa to my Salt.
Oh my God.
You are my DJ Jazzy Jeff to my Fresh Prince.
God.
How many more 90s? You're my Blowfish to my Hootie.
All right, that one was good. I'll give him that one.
Just end it.
All right, guys, we'll be back here next. Who do we have next week, Adam? I mean, are we going to run? We've got to figure out what we're going to run. Are we going to run?
We've got
your guys. Are we going to run Drew? Because this next week, Drew Gregory too.
We've got next week. We got the 3 different people in the art community that do a lot of really cool custom fly fishing and outdoors sticker art. So I'm pretty pumped about that. Some pretty cool custom beer can design labels. It's going to be a good show.
But we're recording with Drew Gregory the next day. So which one are we going to drop first?
I don't know, man. Whichever one's better.
Oh, yeah. So it'll either be a bunch of artists in which Adam can talk about going to Colorado and his visit out there when he was quote unquote fishing, or we can talk to Drew Gregory. So tune back in the next 2 weeks and figure out where we went. Guys, this is Sean, and with Adam and Joel, guys, this has been absolutely freaking amazing. One of the most just absolute nonsensical fun shows in a long time. We'll talk to you guys next week. Thank you. Like and subscribe to the YouTube. Send us a message on Facebook. Join the Facebook Kayak Flyer. Send us an email, kayakflyerpodcast@gmail.com. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you like. Send Adam all the bad reviews.
I can take it.
And we'll talk to you later.